Of 9 schools in the Agona West municipality of the Central Region scored 0% in the 2013 Basic Education Examination. Samuel Pong, Agona West Municipal Chief Executive, made this known when he addressed the first ordinary meeting of the Assembly at the Agona Swedru. According to the MCE, available statistics indicate that out of 2,182 candidates who sat for the examinations, only 848 candidates passed, representing 38.8%. He attributed the poor results to teacher absenteeism and said this constituted a major drawback on education delivery in the municipality, and said the Municipal Educational Oversight Committee had put in place measures to reverse the situation. Upon, who is also the chairman of the Educational Oversight Committee, said the measures include teacher promotion, Best Teacher Award, Institution of Welfare Services, and sanctions on recalcitrant teachers. He charged the Agona West Municipal Directorate of Education to work hard to promote education at the junior high schools. And well, I'm joined over the telephone now by Ahmed Jinapo. He is an educationer. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you, Kimi. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I trust you're well too.
I'm doing very well.
When we have the situation where 9 schools and a whole municipality score 0 in final exams, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think, first of all, every parent, anybody involved in education will not be happy. And if I listen to you, I think the district chief executive is not happy, and legitimately so. But you also agree with me that this is not the first time that we've had such a situation. I think somewhere last year or the last 2 years, we had about 30% of students scoring 0. And it even became a political issue. But at the end of the day, I think when you look at some of these things, there are things that, as the B.E.C.E did indicate, even though I don't know what informed his decision and the research that was done to that effect, it had something to do with teachers. He attributed it to teacher absenteeism. But if you go deep into it, probably most of these institutions that we are talking about, they do not have teachers. And the irony is, I happen to work in Central Region. I teach at the University of Education, Winneba, which is a teacher training institution. We have the University of Cape Coast, which produces most of the teachers in the country. But if we are having these figures in Central Region, then I think it's a problem that needs much attention. But I've always said, look, there are so many ways of dealing with these issues. When it comes to education, quality education in this country, we are definitely behind. But I think one fundamental thing that needs to be addressed is the issue of the teacher. Because most often you go to some of these schools, either they are not teachers, the teachers who are there are not motivated, 3, they are even not committed to their job. So I think something seriously needs to be done about it. If we are talking of quality education, even though you can talk of putting up the infrastructure, as the current government has always been talking of schools under trees being removed, we are talking of textbooks, even now, we are talking of shoes being given to what? To students. But I strongly believe that the pivotal point around which you can have a successful education is the teacher. You definitely will have to ensure that, look, teacher education is upgraded and improved. You definitely will have to make sure that the teacher who's in the classroom, first of all, is committed to the job that he's doing. He loves it. He knows that what he's doing it just for the passion of it. You need to make sure that the teacher who is going there is well trained. You'll be surprised to realize that you go to most of these schools. The teachers who are there, maybe either they are people teachers, and don't get me wrong, there are some people teachers who are very, very good. But I think we need to pay much attention to the issue of the teacher. The teacher is fundamental to every successful educational program. So if today we are having teacher absenteeism, what is causing it? Is it because the teachers have to look for other ways of making ends to support their meagre salary and all these kind of things? So I think we need to have a holistic approach in dealing with the issue. Just the issue of motivation, best teacher awards. I mean, we've had best teacher awards for a very long time, but the problem has not been solved. The issue of punishing teachers and supervision and all these issues, there are things that may help, but I think we need to tackle the issue from the basics.
In dealing with the teacher situation, government has decided that, okay, if you're a teacher, you want to go to the rural areas, would give you 20% extra as income. Will that help in dealing with this in any way at all?
I think that is a first step and it's a right step, but that will not solve the problem. That definitely will not be a panacea to solving this issue of teachers not going to the villages. You agree with me that, look, the reason why teachers are not going to the villages is not because of the income, but it's because most of the facilities that are in the city are not in the villages. So definitely government will have to expand its infrastructure developmental aspirations when it comes to the villages. Try to give them electricity, give them water. And most importantly, look, teachers need to love what they are doing. You need to develop that attitude. You need to let them know that.
How do you identify a passionate teacher, or even one that you can instill that love in? How do you do that?
My sister, you've been in the classroom before. I've also been in the classroom. You and I know teachers who are passionate about their job, teachers who love their job, and teachers who are committed to their job. And we also know teachers who are like a dassika in their job. Today, as we speak, why will a teacher decide not to go to the classroom when he or she knows that, look, he's paid to do a certain job and he needs to work for it? There's something fundamentally wrong. So what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if we want to have quality education, we can talk of improvement in the curriculum. We can talk of giving students the books. You can talk of giving them the furniture. The classroom buildings are being put up. But if you do not have a teacher in the classroom who is committed and dedicated to his job, all these things will come to waste. And my argument is that the teacher is the fundamental pillar when it comes to every successful education. So I think as stakeholders involved in education, we should start thinking about how at least, even not giving teachers the maximum of satisfaction, but at least to try as much as possible to move up their level of motivation. Today, as we speak, we are being told that NAGRAD is intending to go on strike on the system. Why is it so? Because maybe certain monies or certain areas that are supposed to be paid to them, in as much as they are small as anything, they are not being given. So how do you expect such a teacher to be committed? So I think we can think outside the box. We can come together as a people, stakeholders, and try as much as possible to fashion out something that will be able to attract the teacher into the classroom, and not only attract him into the classroom, but to put up his best.
And let's look at the case of the over 1,000 children who scored 0 in the B.E.C.E. What becomes of them?
Well, I think when it comes to this whole concept of B.C.E., we as a people or as a nation have not been very successful in fashioning out an avenue to attract those dropouts. Because naturally, when you have an examination, there are some who are bound to progress into the next stage, and there are some who are bound to drop out. And that is why I think during the last election, there was this whole debate as to whether the B.C.E. or the JHS should be a terminal point or students should be allowed to move into the SHS. I think it's something that we need to look at. But the point is this. When it comes to the dropout rate, if you go to the JHS, it's very, very alarming. And unfortunately, most of these kids who leave that stage, they are around 14, 15, 16. You know, they are not matured and they are not kids. They find themselves in between the transition period of childhood to adulthood. So it's a big issue that needs to be dealt with. But I think there's been a number of proposals that have been put across. I quite remember the Deputy Minister for Education did make mention that we're going to come up with avenues for people to rewrite exams and all these kind of things. But I think the basic thing is, when you are leaving SHS, from my understanding of the whole SHS concept, somebody who goes through SHS should be trained enough to be able, at least, even if he does not continue into a normal senior secondary school, that person should be able to get engaged himself in some kind of vocational training. You know, when you come to the JHS level is supposed to be a practical-oriented kind of program. But unfortunately, it's become more of a theory where students are assessed based on a mechanism that, as an individual, I think is very, very simplistic. Because if you are talking of paper and pencil testing as a means of assessing the performance of an individual as to whether the person should progress to the next stage, in itself does not give a true reflection of the level of the education that has been attained by the by the students. Some people may not be good when it comes to paper and pencil testing, but where there are other avenues of assessing the educational standard of the person will be able to pass through. So I think we need to sit down, because where we are talking of communities, a whole district, schools scoring 0%, then I think there's something fundamentally wrong. And in as much as I propose that we should look at ways and means of addressing this issue, we should also think of the fact that, look, whether we like it or not, we'll have some people who may not be able to climb up when it comes to the ladder. So let's look at ways and means that we can absorb them and make good use of them. And that is where I think vocational training, which for some reason seems to be left out, needs to be looked at seriously. We seriously need to look at vocational training. It's very, very important, and I think it will be critical in our forward march.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jinapo. Dr. Ahmed Jinapo is an educationist.